One nation's immigration policy will see 75,000 illegal immigrants deported immediately. To discuss that policy, I have Senator Pauline Hanson, One Nation leader, on the line. Good morning, Pauline. Thanks for doing this.
My pleasure, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, so 75,000 illegal immigrants. How are you going to do that?
It's amazing, isn't it? Actually, it's 75,400, so it's over that.
Okay.
The whole fact is these people are visa holders that have overstayed their visas in the country. You know what I've heard, Mike, is the government won't round them up because it costs them more in legals to actually process them. So then they use our system, the Australian Review Tribunal, and so they use that. And so once they go through it, this is a system that costs us, when it started up in the 70s, is about $2 million. Now it's in excess of $250 million. And most of it, around about 55 or 60% of it is actually because of migrants that are using the system of appealing the decisions that they have to leave the country. It's costing us that amount of money.
We really are mugs, aren't we?
We are mugs. And the whole fact is they're using our system against us to stay in the country. Then once they go before that and they're waiting for the sentence, they're giving a bridging a visa to stay in the country, and usually it's up to 2 years. So they're working, making money, sending home to their own countries. So
Okay.
we are absolutely mugs that are happening. So this is why the government hasn't pursued these people. This is where it needs to change. And these people are legally in the country. Mike, it's not only about the jobs that they're taking, okay? Money is leaving the country. You've got the housing problem that we have. Then you have this social services. Then you have the doctors. Then you have the infrastructure. It goes on and on and on. If we have laws in this country, your visa is only for a certain amount of time. Where the hell have we got the backbone of this government to stand up and stand by our laws?
So, by the way, speaking of immigration and doctors and nurses, this is an interesting situation. If you're Israeli, I don't know how they confirm that, but presumably if they think you're Israeli, they say they'll kill you, and the possibility is they may have done that already. What's your comment?
Oh, Mike, I saw that story. When I read it, my stomach just turned, and I'm just so disgusted, so angry, because what I talked about for years when I first elected to Parliament, and I spoke about multiculturalism. I have spoken about, my first main speech back into the Senate in 2016. I said about Islam and the views, the fundamentalists, these extremists that we've allowed in the country. And it just turns my stomach. And because the hatred that they have towards the Jews, what has it got to do with it? They are Australians. And do we think I would feel safe in myself if I had to go to the Bankstown Hospital? I wouldn't go anywhere near the place. I'd be terrified of it, because people have a right in this country to feel safe, to use the services and feel that they're going to give the best of care to save their lives. How do we know that this hasn't been imposed on people and their lives have been lost because of these two? And what I understand, the male, he's actually from Afghanistan. He came out here when he was 12, and he's actually got his citizenship 4 years ago. He's about 24 now.
Yeah.
So that's what I've learned about it. This is why I said, Mike, I have been so adamant about this. Watch the people that we come into the country. We actually need to have an 8 years before people can actually apply for the citizenship. And you know what? Instead of 8 years from when they're children, let's look at the amount of time they must be in the country as adults before we give them citizenship, to know their views and their leanings. Don't we want a safe country? Don't we want a country where we feel free, we can walk in the streets without fear of losing our life? And especially now in our hospitals, are we feel comfortable now in our own hospital system? It frightens me.
It occurs to me because if the basic definition of terrorism is to spread terror, then these two qualify, don't they?
As far as I'm concerned, yes, it does. It is. And if they have dual citizenship, then strip them of the Australian citizenship and get them out of the bloody country. Get the scum out. The scum, the scum. We're not a third world country. We are so lucky to be born in Australia or to be able to have migrated here for a better way of life. This fellow left Afghanistan. Now, I went over there in about 2018, I went over there and I saw the turmoil in that country and I felt for the people. The democracy was gone. Women were poorly treated, couldn't vote, couldn't do this, couldn't do everything else. Anyway, that country was started to turn around. And, you know, these people came out here. This guy probably came out with his parents for a new way of life and a new change in what he's done is just imposed their views onto, brought here to Australia, and it just concerns me because, and the other nurse, you know, you saw the family, that type of thing. I thought to myself, gee, the apple hasn't fallen far from the tree. And that's what I've got to feel, Mike. I'm sorry. You know, I feel for those people out there and I feel for all Australians. We have a right to feel safe and secure in our own country, and I don't want this hatred brought to our shores.
When I see I won't say these kinds of stories because this is a new one for me, but the people who are unhappy and want us to let us know about it, I think, what is the point of coming here in the first place? Surely they came here for a new life, but it seems like they just want to bring the old life with them. It doesn't make any sense to me apart from anything else.
It doesn't make sense, and this is what I say to you, that you have to get migrants from countries that are like-minded in your views, your culture, your laws and different things. If you think that you're going to bring people from a totally different culture and way of life to here, and they're not going to bring that with them. And a lot of these people are using our laws to change our way of life here, you know, so imposing what they want on us as Australians. And you know what? It just makes me so mad that Australians haven't got the backbone to stand up and say, no, it's not going to happen. A lot do, but a lot of them, they just roll over and say, oh, well, I can't be bothered. You know, life's too hard. Well, I tell you what, unless you find that backbone, one day you're going to be so suppressed that you're going to find that you've given way to a ideology that's completely against your way of thinking, way of life. And that's what happened to Egypt. If you look back in Egypt in 1970s, they dressed like Australian women back then. And over the years, it's been slowly taken over, whereas now they wear the burqa, they wear everything, they're shut down, they can't have a say, they've got no control, they've got no rights. And if people don't take an interest, you're actually going to lose your rights and the way of life that we have because you were too lazy, couldn't be bothered to carte blanche about everything. And she'll be right, mate. Well, get over it, Australians. I tell you what, it's changing very quickly.
Okay, let's finish on this note. What is the One Nation plan when it comes to immigration?
Well, okay, what I've said is deport the 75,000 that are here illegally. We must maintain our laws. Foreign students, you can't bring in your spouses. Go back to temporary protection visas, reduce immigration by the average of 570,000 a year to 130,000 coming into the country, and only bring people from countries that are compatible with our culture and our way of life. I think that's a start, Mike. There's other things that I've got in it. They can go to my website, have a look at my immigration policy. But, you know, if people want to protect the Australian way of life, you have to vote for One Nation.
Thank you, Pauline.
My pleasure, Mike. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
You too. Senator Pauline Hanson, One Nation.